RS-25 engines lit. 4, 3, 2, 1. Booster ignition. And liftoff. The crew of Artemis II now bound for the moon. Humanity's next great voyage begins.
On the 1st of April 2026, NASA launched Artemis II, which is humanity's first manned spaceflight back to the moon since the 1970s. And like many other space enthusiasts around the world, I was giddy with excitement, and so I decided to recreate it in Kerbal Space Program. So we just watched my recreation of the SLS, which was taking the Orion capsule up into orbit, and here is my recreation of the Integrity, which well, as of recording, has just gone around the moon and is on its way back to Earth. So what we're looking at here is obviously the Orion capsule on top of the European service module, which is itself sat on top of the interim cryogenic propulsion stage, I think. But yeah, I spent quite a while trying to make this thing look like the real thing, and luckily the Texture Unlimited Replacer Depot mod has really helped out there to give it that really cool you know, NASA look with all the white paint there. Now, I am doing this in the stock game rather than Realism Overhaul because I don't hate myself. I'm not a masochist. But despite being in a 1/10 scale solar system, I did want to recreate the mission as accurately as possible. So here we are putting the Integrity into an elliptical orbit round Kerbin, not the Earth, much like the real Integrity. And they did this so they could kind of get themselves in a preparation orbit so that they could get to the moon eventually, after doing some tests in a high Earth orbit. In Kerbal Space Program, you don't really have to do that, and actually trying to recreate the mission accurately in Kerbal Space Program kind of meant holding myself back a lot of the times in this game. I just see the moon pop over the horizon and I fire my engines because I know that's going to take me there, whereas in real life it takes a meticulous degree of planning. So while I try to recreate the rocket itself as accurately as possible, there is a small part that I wasn't able to implement, which are the little CubeSats that they deployed while... I can't remember which stage they deployed them from, but I tried to make small satellites. Unfortunately, the parts in Kerbal Space Program aren't small enough. Anyway, there we were, just raising my periapsis, which again is something that the actual Integrity did, and now I wanted to have a go doing the orbital maneuvering tests that they did to ensure that the Orion capsule can actually use its RCS systems to maneuver properly, because when they eventually go to land on the moon, they're going to have to do Apollo-style turn around and dock with the lander, so they need to make sure that the thing can actually maneuver properly. Yeah, I was watching a lot of the press conferences. Well, actually, to be honest, I've had the streams on pretty much non-stop for the whole duration of the mission. I actually fell asleep watching this docking procedure. It was very calming and relaxing. And anyway, yeah, so I was watching their press conference, and some of them were outlining their future missions, and they're saying they could have boots on the moon as early as 2027 if all goes according to plan. which would be so cool. I really hope that is the case. But yeah, in order to do that, they need to make sure that the Orion capsule can use its RCS systems to maneuver properly there. So the hardest part about recreating the ESM was the RCS ports. I think this is a mod, I think the Near Future Space Propulsion mod gave little RCS ports, but not the ones that they have on the ESM, so a lot of rotating parts and clipping them in and stuff like that. I think I am missing some of the linear ones that stick outwards on the craft, but other than that, I mean, this has got more than enough RCS ports. I mean, again, in Kerbal Space Program, you don't need this many. You can just have like a couple ports here and there, and that usually does the job. You can see we've got 8 linear ones on the bottom there. Again, like the real spacecraft, they do that so that they can fine-tune maneuvers to get the exact orbits that they need, and actually in Kerbal Space Program that is also quite useful. So you'll see here when I make this translunar injection, which is coming up now, again, like the real mission, wanted to make sure that we were on a free return trajectory so that we would basically swing around the moon and come straight back into a re-entry orbit to imitate the real thing. And because that it requires quite, precise maneuvering, I used the RCS ports, the linear ones on the bottom, to finish the maneuver to make sure it was as accurate as possible, which is not something I've ever actually done in Kerbal Space Program before, and that is something I will be tucking in my back pocket for any craft that I design in future that maybe needs to make some precise maneuvers. It's good to use the RCS to finish those off. Although 8 of them is quite overkill for Kerbal Space Program, you don't really need that much power. Anyway, with our translunar injection completed, why don't we sit back and enjoy the flyby of the moon. And there we are, that's our flyby of the moon completed. And yeah, I had to pepper in some of the images that they took on the real Integrity because they are just so, they're just so cool and awe-inspiring. I had to put them in there. After all, I feel like the main reason to do any sort of space travel is to take very pretty pictures. Like this one here, if I had a picture of myself like that, that would be my profile picture on everything for the rest of time. I would literally never change it. Anyway, our brave Kerbinauts, Valentina, Bill and Bob, are on final approach back into Kerbin's atmosphere, so why don't we watch their re-entry back into Kerbin. And there we are, we're safely back on Kerbin's surface, which hopefully will be the case for the crew of the Integrity as well when they arrive back to Earth in a couple days. But yeah, thank you very much for watching this video. If you're new to the channel and you kind of enjoy this semi-commentary, semi-cinematic style of Kerbal Space Program content, please check out the channel where I've got a running series Beyond Horizons, which is just more of this really. And for those of you waiting for Beyond Horizons Season 2, fear not, it is in the works. The first episode is underway, it's actually almost done, so hopefully it won't be too much longer before that comes out. And if you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like and maybe even subscribing to the channel. And if you want to check out some of my other videos, there should be some on screen recommended for you. But I've been Moonfish1001, and I shall see you in the next video.